Hey Drew, Alex Callan calling from the faction. How's it going?
Hi, man. Not bad. One sec. I'll put you on speaker.
Too easy.
All right. Cool.
So, I suppose for starters, how have you managed to be spending 2020?
Yeah. Just working from home and what else? Writing music because there's nothing else to do, and even gymming from home for quite a while and doing everything from home, it seems.
Unreal. You've just kind of made home the one-stop shop. That kind of makes it pretty easy.
Yeah, I mean, that was, well, I was kind of forced to, I guess. But now, gyms are open and everything's pretty much open in Western Australia, so we're back to normal.
Yeah, beautiful. And, there is some excitement in the way as well because Rights is coming out, but a couple of singles have already been released. So how are you feeling for that?
It's been pretty good. Everything has gone to plan so far, which is a good thing. We released two singles, and they're sort of pretty different from each other. So, I'm happy excited for next week to get the EP out.
Yeah, beautiful. And because I know some of the singles have actually been released before. So am I right in saying that the track with Sean Hermanis of Make Them Suffer, Ideation, that's been out for a little while now, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has, yeah. Don't remember how long, but yeah, it worked out a bit weird. I guess it's just the situation with the whole everything shutting down. We were sort of we had a plan of attack, and then when everything got shut down, it kind of threw everything out the window. So we sort of backed off and just sat on the material, and for that reason we needed to release some more singles to get it going again. So didn't work out as initially planned, but it's still going ahead, so that's all good.
I'm glad that it's still kind of making its way onto the EP, right? Because it is a really cool song, and so are the two singles, MVP and Rights, which is actually the title track of the EP as well. I mean, I get kind of a slightly periphery type vibe from it.
Which one? The Rights?
Mainly from the title track Rights.
Yeah,
like
right, yeah.
A lot of the riffing, stuff like that. But one aspect of Make Way for Man that I'm really, really interested in, and I know as a guitarist, Drew, it's not necessarily your field, but the dual vocals. I'm really kind of curious as to how that idea came about, and I really like how they actually sing in unison a lot, and I was wondering, is it ever hard to match that live?
It came about because we were all sort of friends, and we shopped around the idea, me and the drummer, shopped around the idea of who we're going to get for vocals, and we both had our picks, and they both happened to be available, and so we're like, we couldn't really decide, so we just like, let's see if they both want to do it. And so I don't know if we pre-planned to have two singers, but we just thought, well, what could go wrong? We might as well just go for it. They're two good singers and they're available, so that was it. And it worked out pretty well. As far as live goes, I think they're pretty familiar with each other. They were friends, so, and they've sung together before, not in bands, but just as friends. They've recorded on tracks and done that kind of thing. So they know how each other operates and what sort of ranges they're hitting. So, if there's a chorus and they're like, we need some high-end stuff, then Dylan will handle that. Or if there's some low growls, then we know John's going to handle that part. And I think it works out well like that. So they've both got their areas of expertise, and they know their strengths.
Without a doubt, it creates such a powerful sound that when I first kind of heard Make Way for Man, to be honest, I kind of thought it was one vocalist just, really pushing the extent of their larynx. And it wasn't until I saw the music videos that I realized it was two guys.
Right.
So I was kind of blown away by that.
Yeah, a lot of people didn't know back in the day we did a single, and the guy that mixed it pretty much mixed it so they did sound like the same person. I don't know how he did it because they sound completely different, but anyway, so a lot of guys, until they saw a film clip, they didn't know either. They thought it was one guy, yeah. And then, so we sort of made a point on the later stuff to try and maybe put different EQs on their voice or separate the vocals enough so that people know it's two different guys.
Yeah, definitely. And you know, like all the music videos and stuff are really helping in that sense. One of which is a cover of Our City's Fireflies, which has got quite a lot of views. You know, that's an interesting song for a metal band to cover in a sense.
Yeah, different. I mean, I think in general our whole band is different. Even what we listen to is different. It's not conventional. Most of it, like, you know, previous bands I've been in, we've had sort of a common theme of what maybe music we're into or what style. But with this band, it's all very different, which pretty much shows up in the music, I guess. So, I mean, you know, I'm not going to say we're super different, but we're not straightforward metalcore, and we're not really progressive metal either. We're sort of in this weird limbo of genres. And hopefully, you know, that comes up with something different and unique, which is what I hope to get out of it anyway.
Definitely. And, you know, I think it's really cool to kind of be in that limbo between genres when you are bringing out EPs and things like that, because, you know, realistically, you guys can go whatever direction you want from here. You're not really going to cop fans ever being like, oh, I want it back to this sound and things like that, because you have constantly changed it up.
That's very true, yeah. You're not going to get pigeonholed in any type of style if you try and do every style.
Exactly.
I mean, I haven't even taken it as far as I'd like to. Like, I'd really like to go even further with it and get some other instruments in there. And, you know, I just don't see, personally, I don't see it as, I don't think you should have any limits on what you want to do. Like, if you're the hardcore band and you want to have a saxophone solo, like, why not? Like, who says you're not allowed to? There's no rules, so do whatever you feel is going to complement it.
Definitely. I mean, even if you look back at the punk movement, I mean, obviously a lot of brass instruments came in there in the ska sound, but then Australian bands like State stuff just kind of used it to emphasize their heaviness in a big sense.
That's it, yeah. It can. Like bands, I've noticed, like piano, for instance, can like really heavy up a band that's not really a heavy instrument, or, you know, very threatening sound, but for some reason it just heavies it up. So
yeah, no doubt. I was actually, you know, watching an interview with Sabbath the other night where they were talking about how like classical influenced them, and I never would have thought that, which was pretty surprising.
Yeah, and, true. Like,
you know,
Systems of the Universe is a super heavy song, and that's like 1972 or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, you know, some of the influence in that can be truly incredible. And I am kind of interested in what you said, Drew, how, you know, you would like to push it further. I suppose with writing, as you kind of said, you guys are touching on at the moment with not being able to do much else in COVID age, I guess. I suppose if you could go to the studio now without COVID and get whatever musicians you want in for a Make Way for Man composition, what kind of instruments would you like to tie in?
So a lot of the samples and stuff I'll just do myself on a program. So if there's piano or synths or anything like that, and you know, it's okay, but I'm not an expert. You know, I'm not a pianist, so I'd like to have guys like definitely a pianist, a good composer, to come up with some lines and melodies and stuff over the top that I wouldn't personally think of, and that can be a little bit more involved than just plugging some MIDI notes in on a computer. So yeah,
I suppose in a way, does tie into the collaboration with Sean of Make Them Suffer, because, you know, they are the one metal band in Australia that I immediately think of for it kind of incorporating keys and piano.
That's true. Yeah, they used the piano and made it heavy back in the day when they first came out. Yeah,
Definitely.
So
you know,
yeah,
you go, Drew.
So you did, sorry.
Yeah, sorry, it just kind of got a bit glitchy there for a second.
Yeah, my reception sucks.
Well, yeah, it's like even back in the day, I mean, a lot of people now would forget with them kind of being a four-piece for the last few years. Even the Amity Affliction at the start had Trad Nathan on keys. It is an interesting history in terms of Australian heavy music. So I would really like to kind of see that idea expanded in future. I think that could be really cool.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I was like more like synthy effects and you know, getting into. I mean, there's even like a little rap section on one of the new songs, which was kind of out of the blue. I didn't even know it was going to happen, and then I heard it and I was like, "Whoa!" But I was, like I said, I've got no limits. If they want to chuck a rap section in there, and I'm all for it. So,
and that kind of was. I know that you've said previously that the Rights EP, which is coming out very soon, does explore the idea of kind of overcoming fear and you know, pushing boundaries. Is that that more
that is true,
or writing sense?
I mean, yeah, I mean it has more than one meaning. So I mean, John's and Dylan's meaning, if I can talk to them because they're not here, they sort of came up with that concept, and it was always kind of tying in negative things that happen in your life in general, and sort of trying to put a positive spin on it, or taking what positive elements you can out of it, and reflecting that in the music. And that's kind of a lot of the songs. You can skip Ideation, so that's a bit of a dark one, but the other songs are kind of not really super dark, depressing songs. They're kind of more uplifting, pop, proggy kind of songs, you know. So they have that element in the music already, and then with the vocals as well, it sort of solidifies that. So that's kind of what we're going for.
Yeah, I feel as if you guys have kind of hit the nail on the head there, to be honest. Like, based on the tracks that I've heard so far, unfortunately, I haven't had access to the full EP just yet. But next week, hopefully, we can kind of get it then.
Yeah.
And I know that in the past, you guys have kind of got quite a bit of success through the faction, who will self-promote here, but also through stations like 4ZZZ, Triple M, Triple J, and things like that. So I suppose what are your main objectives for this EP, and where would you ideally like it to get to?
Well, I mean, if I look at where we seem to be getting more attention, it's in random countries. Like, Spotify seems to have opened things up even more so than the internet did initially. And if we look at analytics, we're getting a lot in the US, and Germany is a big one for some reason. Canada, even, we're getting a lot. So I've always wanted to, I've been in a lot of bands in Perth and Australian bands, and I've never toured overseas. So I've done quite a lot of Australian tours, but never actually made it over there. So once all this Corona thing, or whatever happens with it, once it eases up, that's one of the things we really want to do, get out and explore a bit of other countries and see how they take it.
Yeah, that would be incredible, and that would push the scope of the band exponentially. I mean, even now, it seems so weird that Parkway are bringing out German covers of some of their songs, but there's just that much.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, there's definitely, people definitely like the Australian element of heavy music. Have for ages now. Even, within metalcore, Polaris and some other bands that essentially making quite a big name for themselves. So there's a market for it, that's for sure.
Definitely. Well, yeah, I can kind of see this Make Way for Man Right CP really getting out there. So, hopefully it kind of gets the best scope possible during such a hard time when you guys can't actually go out and play shows and promote it.
Yeah, that's a big thing, right? And that's what we want to do. So we're going to do some Perth stuff because we're opened up and we're allowed to play shows here. But yeah, ideally we want to get around Australia and then once the time comes, try and make it overseas and just push it as much as we can.
I'm pretty jealous that you said Perth is opened up for gigs. I'm actually based in Victoria at the moment, so
oh shit, yeah, right.
It's going to be a little while for us, but hopefully when it opens back up, you guys can kind of come back down for a Melbourne show.
Oh yeah, we'd be keen. We've done a few in Melbourne, and it's always good turnout. It's such a musical place. I'm definitely keen. It's weird because I've talked to a few guys around Australia, and every state bars they have. Like Brisbane has sit-down shows, so you're allowed to have a show, but you have to sit down. And Adelaide was the same, and then Victoria, you guys you're not even allowed to move. You just have to lock yourself in the house. But Perth has opened up. Like I went to a show a couple of weeks ago, and it was like standing room only. And I don't know, seems to be fine over here at the moment. So we've got to make the most of it and do some local shows and actually want to get out and do a regional tour, get to some pretty isolated cities, towns in Western Australia.
I think that's absolutely an unreal idea and making the best of a pretty rough situation. And truthfully, after this interview airs, I think there's going to be a lot of people looking to move to Perth if you guys have opened back up. That's awesome. Well,
yeah. Well, I have spoken to a few people from Victoria that have come back. They have to do the 2 weeks isolation, but it's possible to do. So I can't imagine what you guys are like after. Like I was going bloody batshit crazy after 2 months of isolation in Perth. Not allowed to leave the house and all that, and it's just driving me insane. So I couldn't imagine going through that, getting out of it, and then going back in it again.
It's pretty mental. I mean, lucky for me, with my line of work and reviewing, I get a lot of albums sent to me, so I'm kind of always confused in a sense. But other than that, I think I would have gone pretty stir crazy by now.
Yeah. Oh, well, hopefully not too much longer.
So much for the chat and everything, Drew. As kind of touched on, right, comes out, did you say next week?
Next Friday, I believe, 18th.
Sweet. Thanks so much, Drew.
No worries, man. Thanks for the chat.
Have a good one, man.
Oh, yeah.